I started doing the WWE show and I got to meet them. उनके साथ backstage में, and then Roman Reigns, he's training with you, he's having a banana, he's just, practicing his moves before he goes to the stage and perform. And you're interviewing him, you're amongst the best people who are superstars. We also live in a society when the woman of the house is responsible for everything. But now is the time. It's the best time for women to be in sports with a lot of grace, with a lot of knowledge. I interviewed Amitabh Bachchan, though it's not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. After the interview got finished, she said, great work, great job. You knew so much about the sport as well, about WWE. And the question that I asked him was quite...
When he knew a lot about WWE, I'm pretty impressed with that.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women in Sport, powered by the Global Institute of Sports Business and Wordsworth. Here, we love to tell stories of women who have made an incredible career in sports. And just like that, today I have with me Yashika Gupta. Yashika has had over 17 years of experience in being a sports broadcaster as well as presenter. She has worked with the likes of Star Sports and on various platforms, including talking extensively on cricket, WWE, and PKL. So let's get into it and understand the world of broadcast from Yashika. Hi, Yashika. Thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure. Pleasure is all mine. I'm so used to sitting on that side of...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this time it's going to be the other way around. I'll be asking you the questions, but just more than questions, I want this to be this fun, easygoing conversation about you and your career. What you've done over the years is fantastic, and just want to celebrate that today. That's the whole idea.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me here, Neha. And we all have been part of the same industry for many years, though when I just look back, it feels like, wow, 17 years. It's been a long, long journey full of ups and downs. I had my days, I had my bad days. But then I think I've survived. And that's the most important thing, is to just keep going.
Keep going, absolutely. So the only advice I've ever gotten from someone dear to me is just like in Finding Nemo, just keep swimming and keep going. And I think when you look back at it in a collective whole, which is what I want you to do today, it's actually something that comes across as something good that you've done, something substantial. And same goes in your case. So you, I believe, didn't get into sports by default, and you were an athlete even in your younger days. So tell us about that.
Oh, wow, you know that. Yes, Neha, that you're very right, because when I was in school, I always was very much interested in sports. I actually played judo for 10 years.
Wow.
I was a national player. But then when I was young, there was this anchor named Anju Pankaj. Those days it was the small bulletin, which was just 20 minutes long, Aaj Tak Pe news track, I think the name of the bulletin was done. And Anju Pankaj used to stay in the same campus. And then one day she happens to be with the camera person in the same society. And then I was cycling back then. And then she called me because she was doing a show on the youth.
Okay.
And she asked me a question, is name more important or fame? I think I was just 10 years old. And then at that very moment, I felt so comfortable with the camera that it was fish to water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
so that was your early discovery.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
it. I want to be in front of the camera. And
so is it something you manifested right from the start?
Yeah.
You were a young girl.
This is the word that I've come now, and we are talking so much about it.
You unconsciously were doing
But unconsciously, I always knew it. That, आप जब school में भी होते हैं, when I was in my class, then every time the ma'am would say that who would want to read this chapter. So I will raise my hand up that I want to read, because I always wanted to be that performer. There was a performer side of me.
Super.
And
so you brought together your love for sports and your love for performance, and this was the best way to do it in terms of being a sports presenter and an anchor over the years. But was it easy when it came to that decision of being an anchor? Were there any challenges back then? I know for a fact that my dream job was, at that time, NDTV was like this, every girl's starry-eyed dream. But the reality hit me when they said, Raat ke 2 baje aana hai, ye sab karna hai. My parents were like, no, not happening. So did you face any of those challenges in the initial days?
I think when I was studying journalism, back then I started my... I actually interned with the Asian Age, the newspaper Asian Age. And I used to take the bus every day from my house, go there, and then... there was the sports desk. I was interning there only, and Rahul Banerjee was the sports editor.
Okay.
And all of them would sit and they would talk about Wimbledon. They would talk about Australian cricket. They would talk about the Ashes. And I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I did. I was so naive at that point, and then I realized that, dude, if you want to get into it, you better get your act together and learn, because that's the only way. That's the only way to be successful in those words. So then I started with news first. That happened for me for 9 years. But when I was doing news also, I was always interested in sports. People in my office knew that she wants to do sports, she wants to do cricket and all of that. But somewhere, Neha, it has always been a very male-dominating.
It has been.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Yeah.
So was
industry.
there that assumption that you may not be able to get it, or you may not be able to dive into it, technically speaking also? Was that an assumption that you also had made in your mind in some way?
No, not really. Not really. Because at that time, whatever opportunity I used to get, that you can do this bulletin or that bulletin, I used to take it. But there was one point when I was doing a night shift, and I asked the news editor that morning 7:30 is the sports bulletin. So I finished my shift at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I asked him, "Ki sir, मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ 7:30?" And he sent me a message, and oh no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just refused.
He just refused. He said that we already have a sports anchor. You need not do it. So I think that hit me really. जैसे दिल पे तीर लगता है ना, वैसे जाके वो लगा. And I really thank you for sending me that message. Had he not sent me that message, मैं शायद
You would have been driven.
yeah. वही news करती रहती, वही सब करती रहती. And then उसके बाद I thought, no, this is not happening. Then I put in my papers and I said, I want to do something else. I want to do sports and do sports full time. Whether it's events, whether it's anchoring a show, broadcast, whatever it takes, I'm going to do that. So that's when the journey started. Okay. I got an opportunity with the 10 Sports, which is Sony now.
Yeah.
I started doing the WWE show.
Oh, wow.
Then. And after 14 years, actually the event happened. The WWE event happened. They're in India. Yeah, in Delhi. And all the superstars came.
Correct.
And I got to meet them. Unke saath backstage. I mean, Roman Reigns, he's chilling with you. He's having a banana and just, practicing his moves before he goes to the stage and perform. And you're interviewing him. You are amongst the best people who are superstars. Unke trump cards khilte hain. So, yeah, that's when...
How did that feel like, just being in the thick of things and then going through that journey of knowing that one day that this is what I want to do, to actually being able to do it? Because I don't think everyone has that privilege, or sometimes luck also for that matter, to be able to realize those dreams.
I think right place at the right time.
Yeah.
That also. And sometimes...
But it's also hard work. What you said is right, that you've got to do your homework, you've got to understand what you're talking about. Otherwise, why would anyone take you seriously also?
Yeah. So that happened. And then I think, when you are already manifesting something for so many years, and then it actually happens at that moment, you're not thinking about anything. You're just thinking how to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
From here, where do I go?
So it's that tunnel vision that comes.
Yeah. Is that it? Is that the only thing that you want to do, or you want to do more than this? So when you reach it at a point, you focus more on the process of taking that one step
at a time.
Yeah.
But how important, when you're that driven a personality, which you clearly are, and you all have to be in this industry, how important is family support, parent support, or just your peers around you? Is it important to keep getting that push above and beyond your own interest and your own, drive? Is the ecosystem important as well?
Very important. Yeah, very important. Especially, I think, after motherhood, yes, all the more important. When I was not married, when I was staying with my parents, I didn't know a thing. But when I got married, you have a family to manage, everything to do. But everything changes after that. And I've been very, very lucky that I got the support of my husband. My family has always been there. Now that I travel so much because of work, and I have a child who's very small, they come and look after it. My husband, between me and my husband, we try and manage our work so that one of us is always with the child. But then I think we also live in a society where the woman of the house is responsible for everything. But now is the time. Now is the time for women to be in sports and say that, as much as I know about the sport as well. And I have the right and I have the vision to be here.
And also that longevity comes through when you have that support system as well.
Yeah.
And you brought up the topic of motherhood, which, it's quite dear to my heart also, because I've lived and grown with having kids and building a career. And it's not easy, but it's not impossible, but you can't do it on your own. I don't want to ever make that assumption that we can do it all on our own, because you do have to have that support system, and hence that luck factor also comes in, that yes, you're lucky enough to have people around you who believe in you, who cheer for you. And it could be your parents, your in-laws, your husband, of course, and everyone around you. So that's great. So that all worked out fine. But dialing back to when you started off, you said it was first with WWE. When did cricket happen for you?
Actually, cricket always was there because when I was in news also, I was always acting the cricket shows. So, but the actual shift happened when I moved to Bombay. So I joined Star Sports, and then there we started a show called Sports First, which was a daily show, and it was the first thing actually to happen in the sports industry, in the broadcast industry, that we did more than 600 episodes of a show.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a daily show. So we used to record at night. So, those years when I was with Star Sports, I saw my husband just on Saturdays, because I used to go for work at 6 o'clock in the evening, because the matches used to happen, and then you
do your programming after that.
Yeah. So by the time I would come back, and be 3 or 4 in the morning, he's fast asleep. He has to go for work in the morning, and then that time I am sleeping. So I think a lot of hard work and all of that.
It's not an easy lifestyle.
Yeah.
It all sounds so glamorous, and from the outside, it's definitely beautiful, but it comes with its fair share of a lot of hard work and adjustments and things like that. But I remember at that point in time also, women had just started anchoring for cricket, and cricket broadcast became huge. And there was a time where there were a lot of controversies as well, whether it was Mandira Bedi, for example, would just come in, where for a very long time, there was this whole question of, is this just glam? Is this just the tick in the box? How much do they really know? There were questions on basic things like attires and things like that on the field. So what's your take on all of that? And from then to today, where women are an integral part of sports programming, how's the journey been for all of you collectively?
See, when I was a star, I used to watch Mayanti Langer doing her prep work and everything. And you can see, actually, I've never worked with Mandira Bedi, so I don't know. But I know Mayanti very well. And Stuart, his husband. So Mayanti has been a person that you can see the knowledge, whatever she's talking about. She's part of that cricket circuit. So you know that, it's just not looking good or looking glamorous. What she's bringing to the table is actually nobody's
genuine content. Otherwise, how you last that
long? And she also took a maternity break in between. That was for around 2 years, and then she got back. She got back, and wherever she's traveling with her kid and all of that. So I don't think it's just कि बस आपने छोटे कपड़े पहन लिए या आप glamorous लग रहे हो. That's how people say a lot of times in this male-dominating industry that we are in. That you are standing there, but you talk to her about cricket, she would know better than
more than
absolutely. Yeah.
But that's what it seems like from the outside. But from within the ecosystem of the sports broadcast industry, how is it like for women now? Is it now become that equalizer that yes, it is taken for granted that you will be in the ecosystem, you do know what you're doing. There is a set of professional people who are doing this on a day-to-day basis. Is it genuinely the case now?
I think today, Neha, it's the best time for women to be in sports, with a lot of grace, with a lot of knowledge, and with a lot of content.
Yeah.
So, but still, we need more people. We still need more women in this industry, because, whenever we are traveling, there's just 2 women. That's all. And then there used to be a time when I used to anchor the show, on the entire floor, there's just me. There's just one woman, and there's no one else. So sometimes those are but that those things don't stop you from becoming what you want to be or what you want to do.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I think I don't think anything could have intimidated you back then or even now.
I don't think so, even now. But you have a share of ups and downs.
Yeah.
You have that. Kabhi kabhar na, actually in this industry, सामने वाले को समझाना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है. Then you also know. But when you have done your homework, when you know your subject very well, I think nobody will question you.
What have been your moments of, or rather the challenges where you feel a bit vulnerable or you feel a bit of self-doubt? And we all go through it, men and women alike, of course.
Yeah.
But did you ever face that in your career as well?
A lot of times actually, when you are going to interview a big personality and you have better questions than your producer. So sometimes, those are the things, but then you have to
Go with that.
go with that flow.
Yeah.
But I think after a point in time, they also understand that you're not here just for the sake of it.
Correct.
You're here because you have done your homework very well. You know the subject, and you've been here that you can handle a big personality. You can counter question, and it's not just about the questions that that a producer has given you. You will use your own mind to ask the questions and all of that. But I think after my daughter happened, the biggest challenge that I've faced was you become a certain size and then to lose weight. It may sound not very I mean, you have to look a certain way, you have to be glamorous and all of that.
Your
And
camera
yes, your camera facing, so you have to cosmetically, physically, everything. But I think that was the time that hit me the most, because I had to do an assignment, and then my pictures were shown of a certain before the pregnancy, and then after that when I had to do it, and they had asked for my recent pictures, so I was very honest about it and sent pictures. And then the response that came was also from a woman that she's not the same girl that we had seen. Yeah. So I think that took a beating on my confidence.
That's not cool.
Yeah. Because see, woman pregnancy happened, and then you gain weight, but then you lose also.
Yeah.
But now when you see a Sanjana or a Mayanti going live on broadcast and in a certain size and shape, but you're not watching them because they are not human. Yeah, you are watching them for their content, what they're bringing to the table, their knowledge and everything. And आप सिर्फ वो size को नहीं देख रहे हो. But at that point when I was reduced to just
That's really
so that was something जो मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा
It hit you.
it
Yeah.
really hit me hard.
Yeah.
कि where are we heading to? If I have gained weight, I'll not lose weight also. But you have to give me time. But then I was denied on the project because because I looked.
So I think that's where the dichotomy lies, where on a larger level, if you look at it, yes, you said it right. It's a great space to be. It's a great time to be in this space for women alike. But there are still those moments where you're like, oh God, are we back in the times again? And are we still going to face those questions? And that's what I've lucked out, where I've had a lot of situations where I've had to hold myself back, not travel, not take up certain assignments because, family takes priority. But on a larger scale, I think people do tend to understand. But yes, you do get these pushbacks once in a while, and then you start questioning it. And that's what makes it, I think, at least for a mother, I would say, also in many other circumstances, quite challenging. But it's that drive that keeps you going, I guess. Yeah. And end of the day, and you have a young daughter, I think it also leads to role modeling. So I think somewhere in her subconscious, when the young girl is seeing her mother being that way and being strong and determined, I think it goes a long way also into shaping up that career. But within the sports space, and you said there are women, but so many more can join in the industry. How much of a role does education play? And are we genuinely giving those kind of opportunities? How important is education to even reach where you've reached? I know a lot of it for us back then was by default, and we haven't had a formal education in sports or sports management. But today you do have those opportunities. So do you think that would be a game changer as well?
See, back then I did my bachelor's in journalism and mass communication. But when I joined my job, it was like unlearning everything that I had learned.
Yeah.
Because it was so theoretical, nothing, it wasn't practical at all. Whatever we learned in the internships, that was the only thing that we knew about TV.
Because this industry is about hands-on experience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that needs to change. I don't know how the education system is now. How much are they actually teaching students about the practical side of journalism or broadcast or everything? That needs to be changed, because today, if you ask me, I don't remember any of my subjects that I studied, honestly.
Because it gets irrelevant.
It gets irrelevant. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think getting courses and getting education tailor-made to what the industry needs will be a huge stopgap, because even for me, when I'm hiring talent, and I'm sure when you're looking at younger talent as well to work with, it'll be so much better if they already have some sense of the industry instead of just learning on the job. We've had to do it.
Yeah.
But I think now there are those opportunities opening up, which is good. And I think more and more girls should just be aware of the fact that, yes, I can have that career in various aspects of sports. And You yourself have touched upon various aspects, and broadcast is, of course, just one of them. But you've done a lot of anchoring, you've done a lot of other kind of content work around sports. Tell me a bit about that as well.
So, actually, I've done a lot of sports. Khelo India is also one of the... I've done a lot of seasons of Khelo India. I mean, the sports that we don't even know about. And I think the government has taken a really good initiative of promoting sports at a grassroots level.
Yeah.
So that I've done Kabaddi, I've done WWE, cricket is something that I do. But I also do a sport, which is actually not a sport, poker. Okay. Which is called poker. I've done a lot of work, a lot of events. And then when you venture into so much more, Neha, you get to know that the industry has really grown and there's such a wide variety of work that you can do and you can be associated with. So I think that has been a game changer.
And that's
bring yourself to new opportunities.
Absolutely.
I have to create, being a freelancer, I have to create opportunities for myself. So I've never shied away from asking for work. कि मैं ये भी कर सकती हूँ, मैं ये भी कर सकती हूँ.
From that time you asked for that 7 a.m. hill space. Yeah. Right.
So, but I asked for it and I was denied. Had I not asked for it, maybe I would have done the same thing, or maybe he would have said yes. तो शायद इतना जो एक्सपीरियंस होता है ना उन्हें, हो सकता है मैं बहुत अच्छा कर देती, हो सकता है मैं बहुत खराब करती बुलेटिन, हो सकता है वो मुझे they would have made me a regular.
Yeah.
But then it would have been the same rut.
Yeah.
I would have never experienced so many things that I've experienced in the past 9 years.
9 years.
Of working in the sports industry.
Huge variety of work, and I think within the sports industry there's been so much growth, right from the grassroots to elite sports. It has always been a lot about cricket, but it's grown beyond cricket. Just look at Kabaddi. I mean, it's the second largest league now with the Pro Kabaddi League, and you've seen that over the many seasons that they have. What do you think led to that success? And you've seen it up close and personal. A sport like Kabaddi, which is so intrinsic to our country and grassroots and hinted
I
at.
think all credit to Star Sports for that.
Yeah.
For making Kabaddi a glamorous sport.
Right.
If you go and speak to the players and all of them, today they know what live broadcast is. Earlier they had no idea about it. But today they are they've over the years, they've really invested in players, I would say.
Yeah.
Rather than and a narrative and a story. Showing their backstories and building a narrative about Kabaddi and how today it has become a glamorous sport.
And these players now have fan following.
They have fan following, yeah.
I saw it, and when a player was entering, or a veteran player was entering one of the stadiums for a cricket match, actually, he'd come to watch a cricket match, there was a big bunch of fans following him and forgetting about what's happening on the field.
Yeah.
So I think you probably do need to package and build a good ecosystem around the sport. And like Kabaddi, there's probably other sports in India which can gain from that kind of popularity, so that it gets a bit more skewed away from only cricket onto others as well. But do you think we're getting there? We're looking at other sports like Olympics sports and sports like Kabaddi?
I think we are. I think golf is something that is coming up. I remember speaking to Madan Lal and way back, and then when my daughter was born, and I asked him, कि सर आपको क्या लगता है कौन सा sport कराऊँ राही को? Whenever he said go for golf. A lot of girls these days are playing golf, and I think she can make a fabulous career out of it, or whatever. She was very small back then, but then I think golf is something that is really coming up. Tennis, of course. And how actually do you build sports in a country? Like if you go to Australia, you'll find so many swimmers, and why is it that they are winning so many medals in the Olympics? Stephanie Rice, I got to spend a lot of time with Stephanie Rice. She's a 3-time gold champion in Olympics, and she had come here to do Kabaddi. Can you beat that?
Really?
Yeah. Stephanie Rice, the 3-time gold champion in Olympics, had come to India, and she was hosting Kabaddi.
Amazing. So great exposure that
Great
way.
exposure that way.
Yeah.
You learned so much about different sports, and मुझे लगता है नेहा कि I think it's in the community now that people want their kids to learn something. It's not about whether they take it professionally. That's totally up to them. You just introduce them, you give them the facility, and then from there, if they take it,
So I think that is also an incredible shift where things like Khelo and things like building sports into the schooling system in an effective way is leading to a culture for sports. And that is where the other countries like Australia we were talking about, or US, has gotten it right, where sports is part of life. It's not just to be watched on a television or where you have a certain set of people who enjoy it, but it's part of everybody's life. So I think children adopting sports, it doesn't have to be leading up to elite sports at all times, would be a critical game changer for people to start prioritizing it as, and it's so positive. It has an impact on culture. It has an impact on mental well-being as well. So that shift coming through is a fantastic news for a country like India. But you said Khelo also you're a big part of. So did you actually then get to interact with the grassroots athletes? They're all coming from various states, different sports like you were saying. How was that?
It was amazing, I must tell you, because that year the Khelo India Youth Games happened in Guwahati.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was doing a documentary for Star that time, and we went to Hima Das. Hima Das was there. I interviewed her, Deepa Karmakar, and everyone, and we went to their hometowns. We shot with them extensively, and then there we saw when we went to their academies and everything that how in actually tier 2 cities the kids are more, the parents are more encouraging, and they want Deepa Karmakar out of that academy.
They're more driven.
Yeah, they're more driven. I have seen that shit. I'm a Delhi girl, so I've never seen that kind of culture in Delhi जहाँ पे sports को बहुत priority दी जाती. But in tier 2 when you go, वहाँ पर तो बहुत ज़्यादा priority है. वहाँ पे सब बच्चे जो है, after their school, because see, there are no distractions.
Yeah, that makes all the
difference. Yeah, there are no distractions. They are not going to a movie theater or they're not going to really a play date that we call in, in big cities. So
sports is a great option for them.
Sports is a great option, and I think that's the only option for them.
Yeah.
That all the
in fact, I feel we're losing out a bit being in the bigger cities, because even whenever I've seen these pockets of talent, it's coming from places of, and especially for girls also, a lot of liberation. So somebody even told me that if you go to certain villages in the northeast where it is a part of their culture for the girls to play football, and a girl is playing football because her mother played, her grandmother played, and that's just what they know. It's normal for them. It's not that it's become a big deal. But funnily enough, the bigger cities are the ones where it's not really part of the norm, and you've got to make your way through.
Yeah. That was there. So that was an eye opener for me as well. Like going to Deepa Karmakar's house, and then, I mean, she has been part of Olympics, and seeing that simplicity and the way she was there in her house with the coach and everything. Oh, they get all the girls that were there. Deepa was there standing, and she's making sure that सारे बच्चे जो है, they're doing the right thing, सारे moves, everything they're doing. And so many kids were there, Neha, I can't tell you. And the zeal and enthusiasm they had, and they had to make it in life. They
genuinely believe that.
Yeah, there is no other option. There's no looking back. And when they see a personality like Deepa Karmakar amongst them, or a Hima Das amongst them, I think
it just changes things for them. And I think it's brilliant that they're giving back to their own communities, and they've gone back to their roots to actually give, back to their communities. And you've interviewed so many people and so many incredible stars, right from international to domestic. And I would like to pick your brain on which may have been those few very memorable moments that you've had with sports personalities, which totally inspired you or shook you.
I think right in the very top is when I was anchoring for WWE. I interviewed Amitabh Bachchan, though it's not. So I interviewed him, and I had an hour with him. It just happened that I was in Bangalore, I was traveling, and then he had to come next day. It was just, I was just destined to interview.
Right.
Yeah. So I did that with him, and after the interview got finished, he said, "Great work, great job. You knew so much about the sport as well, about WWE, and the questions that I asked him was quite."
He knew a lot about WWE. I'm pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, he did. And he said कि मैं अपने बच्चों granddaughters और अपने बच्चों के साथ बैठ कर देखता हूँ WWE. So all of that. And apart from that, I think one event that we did together, which I can recall lately, is
Neeraj Chopra, right.
I did my research till 2 a.m. in the morning for that. And I think the event turned out to be really good because Neeraj himself is such a grounded person. And it wasn't very difficult to take something out of him because he's a very easy, desi person, and that is what you like about him.
It in fact became a very fun, informal, interactive conversation with him. He opened up a lot as well. So I think putting the athlete at ease when you're talking to them is also a big deal. So I don't want you to underplay what you do over here, but it's really important. And I've seen different interviews taking place. Some of them are very functional. You're asking questions, they're replying. What makes for a good interview?
I think simple questions.
Okay.
Don't just think of a few questions. Yes, obviously you will do your research. You'll have a few questions written. Ye पूछ ले. But listen to what he's saying. Just don't be like ये सब पूछना है and this question.
You got to take off.
Yeah. Just take out questions from the answers. Maybe that makes for a good interview. And I think it's also sometimes we undermine the anchor also.
Correct.
Because sometimes the guest is also not in the mood to answer.
Yeah.
That happens a lot of times.
You may catch them on a bad day or something like that.
Exactly.
I'm sure that's happened to you when you
A lot of times.
got someone who's just not in the mood to do what they're doing. Then what do you do in that kind of a situation?
I think make them laugh and just put them to ease. And but sometimes when they're not in the mood, see, they are there for a reason. You interview a person like Wasim Akram, who's always so, he's always in a good mood. He will never give you bad answers. And
I probably put you at ease also for that matter.
Yeah. I remember I was doing IPL and he was in Australia. So we at the time of COVID, we were doing it. So we were doing it digitally. So he was in Australia. His timings were totally different. But Neha, I can't tell you, he used to come so prepared. He said, मैं सुबह 6 बजे उठा, I watched the match, I watched the highlights, and then he would come prepared with his notes, which actually it wasn't required for a person like Wasim. वो तो नींद में भी कुछ commentary सुन लेना, he can answer.
Yeah.
But he would
still have that intelligence.
Yeah. So he would do that. But again, आप कभी कभार it also depends on the person that you're interviewing. If you interview a Ravi Shastri, I mean, I have done interviews with him in Doha with Wasim Akram, and the greatest broadcaster of the planet, the biggest, commentator. When he actually told me that, well done, he just tapped on my shoulder. I just finished his interview because I had done a good research and everything. And he tapped on my shoulder. He said, well done. So I think those are the things that we live for. That's the moments that we live for as a broadcaster, as a anchor. So,
but some people obviously come beautifully. Some people you can encourage to do well. Yeah. Have you had difficult moments also in interviews where you just don't know what to do, or someone's clammed up, or you've had a technical issue? How do you overcome those kind of situations?
So my all-time favorite, one of the cricketers, is from New Zealand, and he's Ross Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was asked to do his interview, and I was very excited. I prepared and everything. My questions are ready. Everything is ready. The interview was very good. He was in such a great mood. So everything happened. And baad mein, when I saw the footage, the camera was shaky throughout.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you have gold. You have a Ross Taylor. Itna bada interview, and the camera was shaky. What do you do on that? So I think, you can't even say anything. What will you say?
That's true.
जो हो चुका है वो हो चुका है.
That's true.
You can't say anything bad to the camera person or anything कि क्या कर दिया ये वो जो हो गया. But then what do?
Move on.
You just move on from there. You just learn from your mistakes. कि क्या हो सकता था? Maybe I would have checked or whatever.
Absolutely.
So वो सब होता है. And then one of the one interview I remember was, it just suddenly, when I was in news, it just suddenly came to me, and one of the producers, what is his name, who's made sorry, I forgot.
No worries. That's fine.
So there was, that's not name actually, one of the very big producers. And I was doing my news bulletin, and just like my producer told me that you have to go and interview him in 5 minutes. They have just come, and I had no idea the kind of work that he had done in the past.
So you just walked in blind.
I just walked in and I just asked some random questions
to get clues.
To get clues. And that producer, he was a sharp man. He knew that I'm not prepared for the interview.
Right.
And that was the day, I got a bit embarrassed.
Yeah.
But from there on, I actually learned to say no.
Yeah. You'd rather not, but you do it well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, don't do it.
Correct.
क्या फायदा उसका करने का?
Correct.
So I think that was the moment where I was really embarrassed.
Yeah.
And it was my mistake because I was.
It just
but
happened.
It just happened. But sometimes you feel here you should know about everything.
You
But
should
then
know.
I can't beat myself up.
You can't.
Or, yeah.
You can't. And sometimes it is our own mistake. I mean, end of the day, you're human. And I've many times walked into meetings ill-prepared, and that initial confidence that, yes, I'll wing it.
Yeah, you pull it off and make it सारे करें.
But sometimes you need that bit of a slap in the face saying, no, it's not going to work.
It wasn't
You
good
better
for
do your homework. You better reskill yourself, upskill yourself. How important is upskilling in your industry? Do you have to keep yourself updated? What's changed over the years? Where have you felt the need that I need to learn this now, or I have to unlearn a few things from the past?
I think what hasn't changed is reading newspapers. I'm giving you a very basic answer to this question because right from the beginning, when I started interning or I started working, the first thing that I used to do is read the whole newspaper from page to page, from start to finish, and then that hasn't changed a bit.
You still read the physical paper? No scrolling?
No scrolling. It was scrolling.
There's still value in that, right?
Yes, till date, till date. And I've seen the young generation just going on the Instagram and reading everything. I think there is no match of reading a newspaper versus reading it on social media. The joy that you gain out of reading a newspaper, taking a physical copy, and then reading it out,
It's a habit, right?
it's a habit.
Yeah.
You have to
very good
habit to have. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. And I think that your children also learn from that. And when you're reading newspaper every day, so they'll also pick that habit. So I think that hasn't changed. And but totally, I mean, Instagram has changed the game totally. So sometimes you have to do stuff which you do not really believe in.
Short form content.
Yeah, short form content. But then you do it just for the sake of it. And sometimes you also start liking it.
Yeah.
It's not always that you hate
No, there is
Yeah,
some
yeah.
merit in
Yeah.
new things that are happening. In fact, we need to change our mindsets to adapt to it and pick the good stuff.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
So
But then keep investing in yourself.
Yeah.
Something that I would like to tell the generation who's just starting out in media industry. Just keep investing in yourself. I think maybe do a course.
Yeah.
And learn something new or go watch theater. Don't save up on that money, maybe the 4,000 or 5,000 rupees that you will save today. Maybe the next jump that you'll have in your life, you will make all of that money in just 3 months.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So think long term.
Think long term.
Right.
Think long term.
Yeah. That would be a good.
Totally upscaling yourself all the time with new things. And just keep your, see, how do you learn? You learn by observing people. You learn by looking up to somebody. So, Neha, when I started out, I was never told how to read headlines, how to read the first 5 headlines of the bulletin. I used to sit in the PCR and just watch other people, other anchors, how are they actually modulating their voice to read headlines.
So that's learning by observation.
By
correct?
observation.
Yeah.
You have to. And
Any role models you've developed over time with this kind of a mindset?
Actually, there's just one anchor that I've always looked up to, and her name is Nigella Lawson. You must be knowing her. Obviously, the famous food, the cook, the home cook that we would say, Nigella Lawson, the way she presents her food shows and everything, I think she's too glamorous. She's too niche and posh and everything to be in front of the camera. And then the way she speaks, everything, I think she's the one who tops the list. And then I think there are many actually. I've always admired you. You would admire someone for their vocabulary. You would admire someone for their sense of humor, some for their content and knowledge.
Yeah.
So lots different people for
different reasons.
Yeah.
What is it about the industry that you're in that people don't know? It all looks so beautiful and glamorous and fun, which it is.
Yeah.
But it's not easy. So what is it that people don't know? What are the misconceptions people have about it?
The misconceptions. The biggest misconception is that people think that we have loads of money, which is not true. Which is not, we all know. And we do not get, I mean, you have to chase your own money, especially in the freelancing world. So that is something that you don't like about it, chasing your own payments and following up on money.
No, but you've chosen the difficult route. And then doing projects and doing freelancing work basically means that every single thing you do needs to be your own. And it's not that you can sit back and be complacent even for a minute. So you've chosen the harder route, for sure.
I have.
But I guess it also gives you a lot of width of and a lot of richness in the kind of experiences you have. Like you mentioned, you work in poker, which is such a different space. And for people to now take it to the level of a sport, how has that been like? And did you have to understand it to be able to get your head around it? Because the whole world has preconceived notions about what poker is. Is it a mind sport? Is it not? Is it gambling? Is it not? So this whole system of people having those doubts and now it moving in a space where nobody can ignore it. It's big.
Yeah.
There's genuine talent out there. So what's your observation?
Actually, the first event that I hosted for them, it was an eye-opener for me, Neha, because, I did not know anything about this.
Yeah.
I had no idea that people are actually, they've left their jobs and they've actually taken it.
And
as
they've made a career.
They've made a career out of it. And it's not that just every day they are earning lakhs of money. They are making a lot of money. But that money is only coming out of the risk that they've taken. They're not risk averse. And I think this generation is about that. Yeah. They're not thinking about that they have to make a house or anything. They're more about experiences.
Correct.
So poker is something that has taught me so much in terms of, I did not go very deep into it as to understand the rules. I know basic about it because I'm not a poker player myself. My thing is to ask questions.
The right
But since not get too deep also, ki aap, you get
it's really too technical also.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then people will not enjoy it. You see, if any interview also you watch, the interview that you'll enjoy the most would be about the experiences, the simple questions that you ask. Even if you interview Kareena,
The human element.
the human element.
Yeah.
You would want to know her daily routine rather than कि आपको आइफा में जाके कैसा लगा.
Correct.
Isn't it?
That's true. So same goes for sports as well. I
Same
guess.
goes for sports as well.
Yeah.
So the question you asked me about poker was, I did not go very deep into it, but then it actually changed the entire perspective was doctor, engineer, and everything were the only career that were there back then, and how it has changed
A lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can generally have a career in esports and in poker, online gaming, and there's huge opportunities which we may be close to, but that's where the world's heading to in any case.
And what I'm liking now is actually social media has changed it so much.
Yeah.
Like today, if my daughter is interested in doing crochet and all of that, knitting and all of that, back then, जो हम बोलते थे सिर्फ नानी दादी करती है, if my daughter is interested in doing that, she can make a career out.
Even that has its own
Space.
Correct.
Why not?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
So that's not about only कि
Yeah.
you have to excel in studies and only then you can make a career out of it. तभी आप doctor, engineer बनेंगे and all of that.
So I think the pressure has come
anything.
down. The pressure has come down. In fact, the only other pressure they probably have is over information and too many opportunities, perhaps too many options. So that works. One part of what you do is anchoring live shows, right? And very few people understand how difficult that is, because one is that, yes, you do have a script that you've created, but you have to do a lot of spot work and going with the flow and managing the flow of events of that scale. So what goes behind that? Very few people really get it, but I've done a bit of it myself.
Yeah.
Where it's given me cold feet, because there's so many situational things you have to look at. So in my mind, I felt the only thing that you need to do is keep calm and handle those situations, because backstage kya ho raha hai, kuch gir gaya, something's not working, someone's running late for an event. What
I think
goes
presence
behind
of
that?
Yeah. And that you get only through experience.
Right.
Sometimes what happens is you have a script ready for it, everything, you have the run order ready. But then I have to say, for an example, I have to introduce Neeraj Chopra on stage, or I have to introduce Saurabh Ganguly on stage. But the person who's who's also the part of the event or the sponsor, he did that. So what do you do at that point? It's just the presence of mind. You don't know that. You just navigate into a conversation. And I think it's just the flow.
And how often is it by the script? It's rarely by the script,
rarely
right?
by the
That's
script.
just a framework for you to have.
Yeah.
The rest is a bit of going with the flow, right? Which was the most memorable event that you have hosted recently? Neeraj may be one of them.
Neeraj is also, part. I think I actually hosted a press conference with Shane Watson, Harbhajan Singh and Afri.
Okay.
Yeah, Shahid
Wow.
Afridi.
Nice.
That was quite nice, actually. The stories that came out.
Interesting
And
personalities, yeah.
personalities, and they all are characters.
Hmm.
So the stories that the narratives, the stories that come out from the horse's mouth, and all of it. So I think that was something which I can think of right now. Which is It was
So, when you're talking to people, whether it's on television or a live event, you also need to be wary of not crossing certain lines and boundaries. And I know you definitely don't do it, but sometimes I've seen from this whole pressure of whether it's clickbait or it going viral or something like that, people do tend to do that. But what do you think should be that ethical boundary that you should maintain to yet get a good interview, get good inputs, but be within that area of being comfortable for the person who you're talking to? It's a tough one. I've seen this happen a lot of
I
I'm asking.
but heart within heart, we all are trying for it.
Yeah.
For that
Exactly.
one
Let's be
thing,
honest.
for that one thing that can go viral or some. But actually viral कैसे होगी वो किसी को नहीं पता. If you go on YouTube and see a Riyan Parag interview that I've done long back, I think till date उनका सबसे highest view interview है or some 9 million or something. Yeah.
What led to that?
And it was nothing. It was just, I think, at the right time we shot it with him. Or so many comments and everything. But we all are actually we all want that one line or that one thing that can go viral. But sometimes it can go completely wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know. Sometimes you don't know. आप क्या पूछ लो, क्या बुरा लग जाए, क्या कर दे. Sometimes you don't know. I don't think that there is any boundary or
Or there's
are there any
rules. There's no rule. book on
there's
this.
no rule book on this.
But I guess it also depends a lot on your perception of personalities, which I'm sure you've developed over the years. When you read the person, you understand what will make them comfortable, what will bring out the best in them. So that's great. So I want to wrap up by asking you a few last things. One is that women in sports, we are seeing a big rise as far as athlete is concerned, at least. And I feel there's a lot of dedication, discipline that I've seen with a lot of girls across different sports. Now, the career side of things as well is growing. Where do you see the future for women in sports in India, in the industry side of things?
As I said, I think it's the right time for women to be in sports with a lot of content, knowledge, confidence, everything. It's no more a gender-based industry.
You don't need to think of it that
No. Okay. Now, today, when you go on the field, you go to the grounds to cover matches, you see a lot of women, whether they are controlling the sound part of it or whether they're producing shows. Lot of women, actually. But still, it's less.
Yeah.
That the number is way less as compared to the.
But it can be filled very quickly now, I feel.
I think yes.
Yeah.
And we'll see that change in a few years, where a lot of women are entering into sports industry, thinking that this can be a profession as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And where do you see yourself now going ahead, evolving into new roles? And of course, you make your own rules, of course.
Yeah.
But where do you see yourself?
I think 17 years in the industry, but still, every day I feel that I'm just starting out.
So that pressure.
Yeah. The world is my stage, and there's so much for me to do and perform. So every opportunity that comes my way, I'll take it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So on that note, thank you so much. Thanks for being here and inspiring so many people with everything that you've told us. Really, really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I don't think I deserve to be here.
Not at
because there's a long way for me to go.
No, not at all.
Lot
You're
more for me.
You're wrong. I think what
myself.
you've done so far, sometimes, like I said, you don't realize it yourself. But hopefully today, you've looked back and seen everything that you've done and you ought to be very proud.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neha.
Thank you. We hope you enjoyed this episode with Yashika. I, of course, got a great insight into her world and what all she's been doing. And the one thing I've learned is if you're determined enough and you want to succeed, you get there somehow. Hope you enjoyed yourself. And please like, share, and subscribe.